Well, greetings everybody, and welcome to this year. This year? No,
This
no,
year.
this week's
Well,
edition. I said I'd go wrong somewhere, didn't I? Right, let's start that again. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Metaworld News. And this week we're bringing you our headlines for the week ending the 1st of March. In other words, the last week of February, because, well, we're in March already, but it's only today arrived. So
we are marching right into it.
we're marching into March,
Yeah.
yes. As is all the storms and
Right.
all the viruses.
Right.
Everything is marching into March all at once,
Right.
all over the world. There's a song in there somewhere, but I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what it
Mm-hmm.
is. And by the time I think of what it is, Armageddon will already be here. So
Right.
let's look on the bright side. The metaverse news. And there is a bright side. Uh, well, we shall plough in there. Now, my name is Mal Burns. You can also find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Mal Burns, squashed together as one word, in fact, MALBURNS. I'm joined here by James Atloud, who is twiddling knobs and looking at screens and basically coordinating all the different camera angles and extra things that come into this show while I'm blabbering away. Um, Talking of blabbering away, there's also an additional Twitter feed that I forgot to tell you about. That is
Mm-hmm.
twitter.com/Metaworld News, just after this show, in fact, and more to do with social worlds and things, that latter one. So, my main feed, the one with my name on it, is by far the busiest. And I have loaded that feed into my own computer onto my own screen so that indeed I can examine all the highlights that I've just promised you. So, without further ado, if we're ready, James, I think we will give you a quick shot at my desktop. And basically, I'm going to outdo this one later, but I found this picture during the week and thought, oh, no, 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 no. I don't need it. That is the most extraordinary looking headset I've ever seen. I
Mm-hmm.
suspect it's not quite as bad from the side view, actually, but from the front, there's well, it's different. The lenses over the eyes just sort of hang down, and I don't know how it works or what it is exactly. It was an illustration with some other article, so I can't, it's not like a new release headset. And well, here's a poll for you: if that was a new release headset, would you want it?
No.
No,
My
yeah,
answer.
quite. We say no, and all of you out there are saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, it's different. Oh, that's cyberpunky. That be." Oddly enough, the lenses there are the sort of thing I wouldn't mind, on a pair of glasses, but not hanging from a contraption like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, moving on, moving on. I put that there just so that it, well, has something to start with, basically. So I am, as I say, I'm moving on, and oh, I know what I need to do. I need to sort of move my cursor to a better position for you. And this is a post at roadtovr.com, and it's certainly the kind of news um, of the week. Now, I think we mentioned this last week because it was. Um, Incidentally, because I know there was a sort of TV show from Second Life which Ebbe Eltberg was on, and basically covered this. But anyway, this is just like an official information at roadsvr.com, and confirming that Linden Lab are planning to spin off. Yes, get spinning off there. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
spin off, Sansar. Oh, that's a polite way of saying rude things. Spin off, Sansar. Right, and they're going to refocus on Second Life. Whoa, what's Second Life on its own? Don't know about that. Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. Yes, indeed. Anyway, it's just it's not actually a press release as far as I know. They picked up the news and then grabbed Ebbe and tried to find out what was going on. So that is road2vr.com. Road 2 is as in TO and then VR the letters, but squashed together. Road2vr.com. Moving on. We have quite a lot to move on to. XR Europe 2020 returns to London in April, and you can save £100 with VR Focus. Now, um, I don't know if there's any guarantee this is going to happen because every single conference I have heard or know about at the moment seems to be cancelled this year. From mobile phone congresses to game developers congresses to Facebook's whatever fast they put on, and etc. etc. Everything has been cancelled,
Hmm.
and sort of. I don't know if anything in London has been directly cancelled yet, but I know that we've had more cases here because I am in London, of course, of the virus on the news this very morning. Um, so we will see, but then again, it is in April, so you never know. Things might have calmed down by then. Find out a little bit more about this and other news, of course, at vrfocus.com. That's VR, the letters, and then FOCUS, all squashed together. vrfocus.com. And yep, if you live in London, you can check that out and hope that it goes happens. Okay, now this is a site called thefool.com. Sorry, I tell a
The
lie.
Motley Fool.
Yeah, but I tell a lie actually. There was no the in it. The actual address is www blah blah fool.com.
Hmm.
So it's simple really.
Okay.
FOOL.com. And yes, as James noticed there at the top, it's actually called the Motley Fool when you get inside it. What's next for virtual reality and insider ways in? Jessie Shell, CEO of
Hmm.
Shell Games, shares her insight. Oh, quite an interesting article actually. Um, um, what's on the horizon, etc. Relationship between AR and VR, the importance of gaming in the ecosystem, and um, blah, blah, blah. Video games serving as clear and noteworthy that console competitors Microsoft and Sony have pretty different reads on things. But then again, everybody's got a different read on things because they're all doing it independently
Mm.
and they're not collaborating or working on any sort of base systems that they can all share, which is what they should really be doing before they go too much further. There are a few things in the works, but yeah. Anyway, read more about that. Interesting, just a little sort of read about article, really. I guess you've got there. Thefool.com. Sorry, you always put the in front of it, don't you? Sorry, www.fool.com.
Hmm.
That's it. Before I get into pickle again, I'll put that away. Right, another interesting site, thefreshtoast.com.
Oh,
This seems to be a
marijuana site. Okay.
well, it does seem to be the most trusted name in cannabis or
Yeah.
something. So yeah. Anyway, what they say is, what mystical experience without psychedelics? Well, try virtual reality. And do you know? I think the idea of lying
Mel
around
is
st-
speechless.
what? I'm speechless, am I?
Mel is speechless, right?
I don't know. I'm just thinking, lying around stoned, with a headset on, strikes me as probably something that would be even more uncomfortable than just wearing one anyway.
Mm.
But there we go. There we go. I don't know. They've actually just got the typical stock library shot there. But apparently, they have got a new study to talk about this. A new study found that virtual reality programs can replicate mystical type experiences commonly associated with psychedelics. Instead of dropping acid, what about dropping in to virtual reality? Yes, yes. Okay, okay. You get the idea. Anyway, you'll find that at The Fresh Toast. Right? All three words are as one, squashed as they say,
Yep.
thefreshtoast.com. And yes,
Tune in and tune out.
no, what was it? What was it again? No,
Leary's.
no, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Drop acid, drop it. No,
Yeah.
yeah, drop in, drop in again.
Sure. Sure. Yep.
Drop in, drop out. Thank you, Mr. Beefheart. Right. Oops. Pop ups. Right. edtechmagazine.com. That's ed as in education, then tech as in technology, then magazine as in magazine, of course. All jumbled together as one. edtechmagazine.com. And it's in a subsection called Higher. Yes, that's appropriate after the last one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Except I think they're talking about higher ed, but what the hell.
I wonder if you planned that.
I did not plan it at all. It suddenly occurred to me as I was reading it. Okay, VR tracking is evolving quickly and becoming more appealing for colleges. So very, very much ed tech involved here. Um, when Ken Berlin opened Future Reality Lab at New York University in 2014, it was a big project, literally. Um, they now have the biggest VR mocap space in Manhattan. Indeed. Anyway, go into that. Anyway, yeah, this is basically a pitch for saying that VR tracking is going to be making VR generally more appealing in colleges and things. As the technology required to support and implement immersive experiences matures, it's becoming more realistic for universities to deploy. And yeah, and probably cheaper, oddly enough. Not cheap, but as these things mature, I mean, and new whiz bang products come out, the price of the previous whiz bang product has to go down a bit. So people get it's like people get I don't know people can pick up iPhone sixes now, can't they, for about $1 a piece or something. I don't. Well, maybe not that cheap, but yeah, price goes down if you don't need the newest, biggest model. Okay, so that's edtechmagazine.com for that one. Here we are. Um, that's interesting. Our picture here seems to have vanished. Right. Real-time rendering and architecture evolves to become a natural workflow enhancement. Um, okay, I think that's the picture that should have been there, but now I've got nothing else.
Nice.
uh,
Clever.
yeah, yes, that's very oddly done. This one. Okay, yeah, there's just some pictures, and that was it. Don't know what's going on here. Okay, let's go back. There we are. Oh, the pictures arrived. Okay, sponsored article here too. Right, this is at archdaily.com. So that's Arch, ARCH, and then daily, as in weekly and yearly. Arch is short for architecture here. So, although it could equally be about an arch, couldn't it? Because an arch could be a piece of architecture.
Architectural, right?
An architecturally sound arch, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Very good, very good. Just to confuse you. Okay, they're talking about architectural visualization here, and to be honest, the main thing they're talking about Enscape here, in fact, and this is actually a kind of plugin. You may think it looks like a 3D modeling software, which it sort of is, but basically it plugs into CAD design tools, computer-aided design, as the old-fashioned way, and the 3D plugin actually plugs in to enhance the rendering of things that actually they're are frequently mapped out in just 2D and then extrapolated in 3D and then pushed through this plugin to make them look like the real thing. Anyway, there's obviously a correlation here between this and virtual reality, if only in the sense of modeling. So, oh dear. I never know where. Have to every time I scroll somewhere, there's another pop-up I got to get rid of. Right, there we are. Anyway, so real-time rendering in architecture there at arcdaily.com. Right, moving on. VR may feel like a bit of a gimmick, but your brand needs to pay attention. No! Yes, right now,
Right
because
now.
it's the future. You see this small print? It's the future. Yes. And indeed it is. Indeed it is. More necessary now than ever, of course. If every conference in the world gets cancelled, even your local conferences, forget the airplane business,
Yeah.
you may just have to do it all from home. So virtuality is becoming more and more important. Um, VR has long been associated with the gaming world or with high budget Hollywood movies. Well, actually, in a way, that's true, but I wouldn't say it's been long been associated. The Lion King was probably the closest that's actually real virtuality. I think the writer here isn't quite sure the difference between 360 video, virtuality, and CGI, but you know. She- but anyway, he knows that he or she knows that it's all pretty important for the future. So good luck to them. Yeah, another PR article, except it's a PR for our particular thing. It's not PR for any particular product. The chap writing here is the CEO of a site called Social Bakers, who has 20 years of business. What's Social Bakers? When is it? So let's find out. Demo start a trial. Okay, well, that is commercial. Okay, moving on to Forbes. Forbes.com, Forbes.com. How virtual reality is benefiting seniors. Again, we get quite a few of these things popping up, from different pitches, different examples and things. Um, and number of articles here. Reducing loneliness, improving mental health, transporting them to far-flung places without needing to leave the comfort of their own home. And the one that's actually oddly missing there is the idea of transporting to far-flung pages, but also reliving experiences. I mean, in 360 video, it might just be recreation of a place, but yeah, reliving memories. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of things here. So they just do a rundown here of the various ways in which elders can be helped with VR. And oh yes, allowing them to see their future home before it exists. So maybe it's a guided tour of the care home that they're going to be sent to or something. There is a lot to read here actually, so yeah, I won't keep scrolling because it's not the sort of thing where I can pick out any particular highlights. Okay, so that's at Forbes.com, Forbes.com, obviously. Moving on, this is VRScout.com. VR, the letters, Scout as in Boy Scout, but all one word, so VRScout.com. And virtual reality multiplayer art exhibit, the Museum of Other Realities, is now available on PC VR. Um, my eyes usually light up when I see something to do with art and
Hmm.
arts over and beyond virtual reality, as it were. So this is quite interesting. Also, I have noticed, or rather, I noticed this morning when I was digging through the links, that this article or variations on it has been published all over the place this week. So really, this is just one. This is really the first link of the week I came from on this subject. Anyway, Museum of Other Realities has got a nice name as well, actually. Um, it's different from conventional museums, exhibits, etc., because you can't visit it in any geographical location. It doesn't physically exist. It's an intangible destination accessible only through modern VR technology. And yeah, that I think is one of the nicest sort of pictures. It's just a little GIF made from an in-world video. It's almost a shame that from what I can gather here, this is actually well, a one-time payment of $15, and you download the app via Steam VR, Oculus, or Viveport. But it seems you can only use a headset with it, which I imagine is great to go into with a headset on. But I don't know. It would be nice if people uh, who are making these VR things actually did consider. I mean, that could easily be something on a 2D screen, um, except for that strange avatar, of course. Look at him.
Your favorite kind of avatar.
Yeah, well, that's not the. It's like a floating head, but it's got the addition of a carrot. Look, there's a carrot. It's a head with a carrot
you,
floating underneath it.
your root vegetables. That's good.
Yes, yeah. For vegetation in VR, very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Cartoon vegetation. The floating carrot, but he's got a nice room.
yep,
Well,
yep.
looks pretty damn comfortable in there, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah, you can check this one out at vrscout.com. VR Scout being all one word. Yeah, moving on, moving on. Right, this is Engadget, ENGADGET.com. And they're announcing that Google's latest VR app lets you gaze at prehistoric paintings. And I wonder if we had a different piece on this last week.
Something
Um,
similar, yeah.
Yeah, similar. Well, yeah, prehistoric paintings, old paintings, and everything. These are like cave paintings, and they're designed to, they've scanned them, and they've probably processed them too, so you can actually see them. Where if you go into an old cave and there's paintings on the wall, you can't normally see it, unless you've got special equipment to photograph it and decipher it with. Yeah, there you are holding a torch up to a cave wall, and there you can see what would that be? Probably a bison or something. Um, they, I think there's a lot of cave paintings with bisons in them. Um, yeah, anyway, this collection is based on the Chauvet cave in France.
Hmm.
A breathtaking prehistoric art, blah, blah, blah. Radioactive dating has pinned the earliest to a period 36,000 years ago. And the site was actually discovered in 1994, which isn't that long ago, but was immediately closed off to prevent damage. So, this new exhibit is a full size replica. Well, I suppose you just build it and scale it, don't you? So,
Hmm.
anyway, that sounds quite interesting. I haven't been to it. I haven't clicked on it yet. Um, you can, there's quite a lot of being Google. You've got your videos and various other things here to read about it. Oh dear. You know what, James? I've
What?
got a feeling I could use a stretch.
Oh, all right. Yeah, we're about
Maybe,
20
but let's
minutes
say,
in.
oh,
Okay.
mine says, 20 minutes since we started.
Right. Right.
Okay, we have a little secret tip going on here. You see, if we we reckon if we stretch ourselves while we're on air, we don't get logged out. So I'm leaving you with a picture of that cave just for 1 second, whilst I actually behind the scenes here stand up. Yes,
Very nice.
pan around, walk off the desk, do a bit more panning around, and just enough to convince the platform we're on to think I'm actually active. And there I am, sat down again and back with you. As
Excellent.
we move on, as we move on, I'll probably need another stretch at 8 o'clock, but there we go.
All
Or
right.
8 o'clock
All
on
right.
my calendar, if we're still on there. Moving on, moving on. Okay, this is a site called Wallpaper. Wallpaper.com. WALLPAPPER. And you can see it on screen, so why did I bother? Right. Reba explores architectural adventures in mass media. More about architectural here. Reba, I don't quite know. I'm going to have to check this in a second if it's there. I'm not quite sure what Reba is. Anyway, they got a show in London entitled Freestyle Architectural Adventures in Mass Media, created for them by Space Popular. Reba's latest exhibition. There we are. Oh yes, Royal Institute of British Architects. How could I
Oh,
possibly have forgotten?
okay.
How could I have possibly forgotten that?
Yeah, yeah.
The Royal Society, basically, for the architectural wing. Yeah. Anyway, they've got an exhibition going on. If you're in London here, you might care to go and see it. And that's just great. Um, As you can see, I'm scrolling. And do you know why I'm scrolling? I'm trying to find the address of
Oh.
where the exhibition is. I think you actually probably have to look for the Royal Institute of British Architects building in Google,
Mm-hmm.
and then find big, dark, and grey, and standing in the centre of the space. The model is a collection of slightly abstracted UK buildings. Hypothesis is that mass media and changes in architectural style are inextricably linked, according to the curator. And actually, the architecture gallery, maybe that's where you need to go. Anyway, if you want the article here, and for a refresh or whatever, you want a site called the Wallpaper. No, you don't. Why do I put the in front of everything these days?
Hmm.
Right, you
This
want
is new.
www.wallpaper.com. Sorry. Just yeah, bad habits, eh? Right. Well, it's because it's the 1st of March.
True. Okay. That
Yeah.
works.
And it's the show. Well, this show is. Never mind, never mind. Everything is the, really, isn't it?
Mm.
Except for the web. It's like squashing. drop the and squash the words. Yes.
At least we
Oh,
don't have
listen to
to determine if it's a female the or a male the.
no, apparently it's politically
In
incorrect to actually
Latin
distinguish
languages.
now.
Right, right.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, back to the festival time, as it were. The Sundance Festival, which has actually happened, so you don't need to worry about viruses there. Virtual reality defied categorization. First thing you need to know, these are not movies, despite being Sundance. And yep, there's a whole little review of various stuff here that struck the author at Sundance. In fact, I'm going to stop scrolling because this is quite a long article, so
Hmm.
it's a good meaty read here. Under the subtitle of innovation, basically. So the site we're looking at is a site called inverse.com, inverse.com, and then / innovation. Although you may not need that, but the section of the magazine is called Innovation. So very interesting there. If I seem to be going through this a bit faster than normal, it's because there's an awful lot of tabs open on my screen.
Ah.
Okay, this is a site called The Conversation. Oh, this has got a the in it. A
Mm-hmm.
real the.
There it
Oh,
is.
wonder of wonders. TheConversation.com. And yeah, the THE at the beginning is real, folks. Amazing, amazing. Right, so THE and then conversation, all one word as it were, so conversation.com. And virtual reality can bring ancient cities back to life and improve conservation. Indeed, it can. Posted on February 27th, this one. Um, and well, let's see. They're actually starting talking about here a place called Ugarit, which between Persia, Egypt, India, Greece, Cyprus. Oh, it's in the middle of all of them. It's a Bronze Age archaeological site in northwest Syria. And it's actually first excavated in 1929, so it's
Mm.
been around a while. The excavation, that is. Um, so yeah, there's the sort of picture of where it is on a map, and well, I say it's going into quite a lot about the excavation and stuff, and the sociology of it and everything else, really. Um, where, sorry, I'm trying to find where it tells you to go. Uh, yeah, because of politics, you can't even go anywhere close to the real place at the moment. So virtual reconstructions allow a glimpse of this fascinating city, etc., etc. Exactly where I'm meant to go to find the construction, the virtual reconstruction. I'm not quite sure. Um, that's a bit of an oversight, isn't it? It's very interesting article, but doesn't tell us where to go online to see it. Unfortunate that, I would say. Right, okay, that's School of Architecture, University of Portsmouth, another architectural link here. Yep, so go to theconversation.com to read a bit more about that and or maybe just Google Ugarit or something to find out where the virtual installation is. Or, of course, it might be a virtual installation at the university or something. So it may be virtual, but real world only, if you see what I mean. Oh dear, isn't it confusing?
Mm-hmm.
Right, Health Connection. The website here is www.nbcdfw.com. Now, isn't that easy to remember? nbcdfw.com. And I think this is a radio station or something. It's got that an odd symbol by it and five. I don't know anyway. Anyway, connected to a healthier life, could virtual reality be the future of fitness? They have a little video there to suggest it might be. And only about 20% of Americans get the recommended amount of exercise per week. So they want to put you in virtual reality with suitable floor space or cycling machine or a running machine or something and get you fit to Let me see. According to the Center for Disease Control, the researcher says a tool on the market that has the potential to change that, and it's called virtual reality. And this chap has a personal boxing ring he made. Um, Sick babies get their best chance in virtual reality. Really? Well, I suppose it's a way of distracting them. Well, you open them up or whatever. Future fitness. Quite a lot of little short presentations on this site, on the article too. So yeah, there we go. Um, N NB. Oh, right. The NBC bit is a network of some sort in America, isn't it?
Yeah,
NBC.
yeah.
So this is actually NBC and then DFW, whatever that bit means.
An
And the
idea.
website has a number five in front of NBC, so go figure.
Oh, that would be the
Um,
regional. So broadcasters have regional locations, and so they get call letters. So it relates to where that station's
where
is
they are, so
geographically.
it
Yeah,
could be,
yeah.
um, yeah. So D could be like dreary funeral. What? I don't know what you can. Sorry, I'm being silly. Right. Anyway, so the best thing to do there is to go to this NBCDFW.com if you want that. Also, there's quite a bit in it,
Dallas
as I
Fort Worth.
mentioned.
That's what DWME means in
Oh,
Texas.
Dallas, Fort Worth.
Hmm.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I've heard of Dallas and I've heard of Fort Worth. And they're
And
both
apparently they
one's
play
in the other.
together.
One's in the other. Which one's inside which? Fort Worth is in Dallas, I presume,
No,
or is it
they're
the other way
side
around?
by side. They're sister cities.
Oh, okay, right, okay. So there's a bridge between them or something, right? Fair enough. That's like City of London and Westminster here. It's all now one big
Okay.
tangled mess. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Okay, and do remember you can go to twitter.com/Malburns, Malburns, which is my Twitter feed, and or you'll find the links to all these articles in there too in case you forget them or just they're too complicated to read out. Right, moving on. We're now on TechCrunch, and yeah, I think we got two TechCrunch articles this week. Yeah, they've been doing a series actually. This is part three of a virtual series. Imagining what the experiences of these new social environments will feel like.
Hmm.
What virtual worlds in the coming multiverse era will look like. And again, it's going to be a seven-part series. I think we're on six actually. Anyway, um, gaming and social media on collision course, etc., etc., etc. Basically, and oh, oh, that's rather unfortunate. It looks like to actually read the whole thing again. I'm sure it was here the first time. I need to subscribe. This is obviously one of these paywall sites where you get to read the top of the article and then, oop, where's it gone? Okay, so this is techcrunch.com, TECHCRUNCH .com. And you may have a subscription or something to them anyway. Right, here we are, part two of the same series. Why social networks want even more gaming. This is all kind of related to their theme of virtuality. Um, they're looking at Facebook, Twitter, WeChat, and all the things that could be argued that Facebook is a lightweight virtual world anyway. I don't know where lightweight is what I call Facebook, but
Hmm.
quite the opposite. But obviously, the moment you have avatars and immersive spaces, then that's what we really call the social virtual worlds. Um, and obviously, these are going to merge ultimately. Um, Although arguably, I think there'll still be a space for simple, easy, news feeds from your friends and stuff like that. I wouldn't see Facebook turning into a total virtual world at any point. Unfortunately, I would see them dominating the virtual world space. So that's another worry, a different worry. Anyway, read this techcrunch.com again. And I'm going to skip. I'm going to just skip over here. because part five of the series, which is in a different position here, is more recently. Multiverse virtual worlds will be healthier for our society than our current social networks. Another interesting theme there in the series. And finally, part six, making money from games to future virtual economies. As you can see, this is I think part seven is the only bit yet to come. Maybe that will be out tomorrow or whatever. So all this you can find at TechCrunch. Um, one trick you can sometimes use to get around this is if you actually subscribe to an RSS feed from some of these sites, then the RSS feed will, if you read it in an RSS feed, it will sometimes show you the full article, regardless of whether the web version wants to get money off you or not. So nice to see that series making the rounds anyway. Oh, now remember we opened up with where was it? This chap. Well, that was at the top of that. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get rid of it now. It's horrible. Okay, well, we have an article, a new article, yeah, today I think it was, from a site called the Bull and Bear McGill.com. Now, this is no reason to go to my Twitter account, isn't it? BULLANDBEARMCGILL.com. Bull and Bear MCG ill dot yeah, quite. Right, anyway, this is McGill's student-run news magazine. Whatever McGill is. Right. Anyway, but how virtuality has revolutionized the workplace. Now, you know what that last headset looked like. Here we go. Here we go. I had to put this article up, if
Oh my.
only to show you this piece of disaster. Right. Yep, it's the headset, and it's is that an antivirus mask or is that an aromatherapy breathing system?
Is it
Uh, what
smell-o-vision? Yeah.
what on earth is this? The photo credit here is to the Altus Air Force Base.
Oh, okay.
So presumably maybe that's one of those pilots that goes around the Middle East. Sits in the comfort of wherever it is in Nevada or something and goes bombing the Middle East to smithereens. Who knows? He might not be a very nice guy, that, but never mind. He's doing his job probably. Um, well, as you can see, it's all talk. Um, just no general article really about how it can revolutionise the workplace. Presumably, you don't need the Air Force kit to actually, in most workplaces, you can probably use something a little bit more economical and less cumbersome, like a pair of glasses. But anyway, VR is invading the workspace, as of course it has to really now. Okay. What the blazes? Oh gosh, I think I'm in the wrong place. I think I've just lost the tab, but never mind. Okay, London Dynamics looks to transform the consumer retail space experience with AR. Businesses and AR solutions here again. Um, Really, this is more to do with online retail and stuff using AR and VR there. Um, yeah, the old little. Oh yes. Yeah, IKEA are really moving into this space with a vengeance too. Um, but anyway, VR and AR particularly in retail there. So you can find that at vrfocus.com. Again, we've been there for other stuff, but VR the letters, then focus.com. Oh God. Uh, Virtual landscapes, 13 fascinating feature uses for VR and AR. This is a site called interestingenneering.com, spelled exactly as you might expect. Two long words squashed together as one. Pardon me, slurping my coffee here. Do I need another stretch yet? No, not quite.
No.
He says, looking at. Oh, we're not talking real life here, are we? Right. Okay, from military training to VR space exploration, automotive design and technology has the potential to revolutionize the digital space. And somebody called Chris Young writing here. Um, again, yeah, but it's been a good week for these kind of what you might call information articles. Telling people that VR and AR is the future of doing your work or doing business or just entertaining yourself and whatever. And this is what was it? This is 13 fascinating uses. So you've got automotive manufacturing, journalism, prison inmates, rehab, pain relief, medical patients, new type of immersive theatre, drug-free tripping.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deep dream. Or it could be ray traced.
That looks like the Google artificial intelligence drawing.
Is it? It looks trippy enough,
Yep.
as they say. Right, AAA games, of course, exposure therapy and rehabilitation, medical and military training like never before, worldwide work collaboration, like the emphasis there on worldwide, but actually anywhere really. Much more effective than Skype, etc. Where Skype's performing, anything's more effective than Skype, right?
True that.
Um, Amazing 3D art creation, space exploration from Earth, and number 13 is the Mirror World. Interesting, interesting. Right, so covering quite a lot of that article, as you can see. So the site you want is also interesting because they're called interestingengineering.com. I'm not spelling it. If you can't spell those two words and stick them together, you've got serious problems. So you better go to twitter.com/Balbers and follow the link. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right. I love these blogs that are like the 13 best and the 5 wildest virtual advancements to date. This is a completely different site. This is Grit Daily, GritDaily, gritdaily.com, basically. And this is five of the wildest virtual reality advancements to date. And what have they got? Times recreation of the 6th Degree March on Washington. Go away, pop up. Cancer patients using VR headscapes to escape chemotherapy. Treating phantom limb pain with VR tech. Training surgeons through simulated surgeries. And I, one, two, three. That's only four. What is one, two, three? Cheeky sods. Right. Okay. Well, this is five, but actually four of the wildest virtual reality advancements to date. Whoever published this article needs to learn to count. But there again, you don't need mathematics to write, do you? Not really, I suppose.
Apparently not.
Okay, so that is gritdaily.com. I must say, it's getting quite fun doing this at the moment because I keep stumbling across sites I've never even heard of and almost can't believe that, what the hell is Grit Daily? But they're everywhere. We're back on the familiar site now where it's uploadvr.com. So that's uploadvr.com. Immersive Reality Revolution is a new book exploring the future of AR, VR, MR, and hey, it doesn't say so, but I bet you that includes XR too, because XR is actually all three of them if you see what I mean. Right. A little light reading for the weekend. Virtual Perceptionist Tom Fisk has just launched a new book and 160 pages worth. They give it a quick little review there and they give you the obligatory links so you can go to Amazon and get it on your Kindle or whatever. So no, you can't read the book for free, but at least they're telling you about it. Okay, this is another different site, newatlas.com. I think we had another one here recently from them. That's NEWATLAS, or one word, or Scotch words as it were, .com. This is the art of VR storytelling with Fiora Trent's closed. Look, you can read that. Don't ask me to pronounce that, please. Just read it. The yeah, close to Castella. Okay, quite interesting though. There's a picture to show what it's all about. Users tend to environmental issues. It's basically VR featuring tales of environmental degradation through books, documentary film, amazing radio bulletins, well, mixing it all together basically. And this is an interview with the lady that has put this all together. Um, Her company is now partnered with Netflix, Google, and David Attenborough. Blah blah
Oh,
blah.
oh.
If you're interested in ecology and all this stuff, it's a long but very good read. We've just got to the interview. There we are. So yeah, it tends to be more out of home VR, this sort of stuff, but who knows? It's fairly kind of exhaustive. Look at the environmental issues. Um, in particular. So, newatlets.com for that, and that was published February 29th, which was yesterday, I guess, Saturday. No, hang on. 30 days of September, April, June. No, 29th. Yeah, that was yesterday, wasn't it? And
Mm-hmm.
now we're on the 1st. Oh, dear. I'll learn yet. Right, February 28th, University of Warwick, Science Daily, source for research news. Um, just a summary here physiotherapy could be done at home using virtual reality. And there's, well, it says it all really. And, oh, actually, it's not a synopsis. That is actually the full story, presumably linking here to University of Warwick materials and, oh, lots of references at the bottom. Um, physiotherapy at home with virtuality. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, I guess it's like Keep Fit exercises, or the modern version of a Keep Fit video. If you there's not that much difference between Keep Fit exercises and physiotherapy exercises. So maybe you just follow and work interactively, at home, following stuff on screen
Mm-hmm.
in VR. So there you go. Um, I guess there's always, if I had a bodysuit, that was like a little lycra suit or something connected to all those things, you can imagine you'd have a full body thing. But I had for about 2 years, a couple of years ago now, something called frozen shoulder. And that really required, you could, I imagine that wouldn't have been easy to actually do using virtuality because you had to have somebody with you who was forcing you into very uncomfortable positions, to try and revitalize bits of muscle that weren't working quite as they should be. So it wouldn't be as
Mm-hmm.
simple as just standing in front of a screen and doing it because one of the problems with something, this frozen shoulder thing, actually your arm just stops. It won't move. So
Yeah.
it takes an actual real person to grab it and wrench it into the agonizing position that you can't get to by yourself. So, but I suppose in theory all that will work. I can just see a few things that might be a bit limited there. Right, moving on from physiotherapy to Global Spine Congress. Oh, we're really on a medical trip today, aren't we?
Yeah.
As it were. The Global Spine Congress is to host a cadaver-less training course for 100 surgeons using Oculus Quest. Are you a surgeon? Are you reluctant to play around with real cavadars? Cavadars, I mean. No, cadavers, I mean. Oh, God. Anyways, yeah, the course will use an actual platform called Precision OS, which is in the advert, a bit of an advert there. Um, yep, so 100 lucky surgeons are going to be able to work with virtual cadavers to study spines. And that presumably is the spine. Yeah, see, there's your virtual spine, and there's your Oculus hand. And you don't have an Oculus body, I guess. Who needs one? Look, it cuts off at the wrist. Oh, naughty, naughty. Never mind, never mind. Check this one out at vrfocus.com for more about that one. VR Times, another regular site here. Apparently, 106 combined virtual reality titles generated more than $1 million US in revenues in 2019. That sounds a lot. I'm not sure it really is when you consider the size of America. Or actually, this might even be worldwide for all I know. Um, $1 million in revenue. That's spread over 106 different VR titles. So
Hmm.
if you work out an average, probably you're not. Oh, you're talking about what, 10,000 each, or 10,000 times 100. I can't do the maths at the moment, but anyway, it's interesting. Um, um, there's the product grossing graph and everything else. Really, unless you're interested in financial figures in the growth of the industry, there's not much to this. But if you are, then all the information you need is there. Right, moving on. This is a site called Screenshot, and it's screenshot-magazine.com. No spaces, so it's just screenshot, then the dash, then magazine.com. And opinion. Artificial intelligence avatars might be new gen's entertainers of choice. Now, you probably heard of all these new things. There's an article I didn't put up here, actually, which was to do with, no, not Britney Spears, that dead woman. Oh, God, I've forgotten already. A very powerful voice she had, actually. Um, but basically, AI avatars, they're not only bringing back dead performers and stuff. Um, um, one of whom's I can't, oh, Maria. No, is it Maria? Oh, I can't remember her name, but there's going to be a big London performance anyway, featuring a hologram and live dancers and live music and everything. Um,
Hmm.
but yes, sorry, okay. Well, rabbit holing here. Getting back to this article anyway, this is actually just a general article on the rise of holographic performers. And they're not all, as you might think, just people being brought back to life. There's a whole whole league here of performers who are purely virtual holographic performers these days. In other words, they never set foot on their own stage. They just set foot in a studio somewhere where they can make the hologram that will be their performance. So it's really a bit like a film. They make the performance in 3D and then it is projected onto the stage and goes on tour. Um, which probably means you've got lots of work to do in the beginning, but it probably means the actual act of touring is pretty lazy. Um, so
Hmm. Hmm.
I imagine they don't get paid too much for just having their likeness in a hologram. They probably get paid for making it's hired to make a movie kind of thing. Anyway, I mean, they talk all about it here. So um, there you are. They do focus on this Yona performer. That I guess is Yoda. Yeah. Anyway, looks
Okay.
sort of real in a science fiction sort of way. Right. Okay. Moving on. ARVRjourney.com. So that's ARVRjourney.com. Now it's well ARVRJOURNEY. Right. Put it a long way. And this seems to be it's got the medium symbol at the top, so I think it's a subsidiary of medium. The future of remote teams with spatial networks, and particularly focusing on social VR there. Um, right, yeah, this is on the Malbone's feed. I think it may be in the Metaworld news feed as well. Yeah, fairly kind of long article here. Well, not that long actually, but um, a long form read, shall we say, and look at the future of meetings and everything else. Heavily featuring Altspace VR, of course, who seem to be the most popular to be talked about in this space, really. Um,
Hmm.
okay, right. So we are at the end, I believe, of all that. I'm now going to go to Metaworld News' feed and load a few things so they're here. Um, Business opportunities in Somnium space. This is a site called Somnium Times. So you can see the way it's spelled at the top there, somniumtimes.com. It's like an in-house newspaper for the virtual world called Somnium, or Somnium Space, which launched a week or so ago. It's been in beta for long enough, but this is one of the ones that relies on blockchain and all sorts of stuff like that. And the emphasis at the moment, they're talking about goods and areas to play in and everything else. I don't know whether you can get into this for free or not. But the emphasis really is on buying land here. That's seems to be where they're aiming to make the platform itself. Is aiming to make money, but they discover a whole load of things here, and they're very speculative. As more and more people will be joining Somnium, in other words, they haven't done yet.
Confident.
there'll
Yeah.
be there'll be an increased demand for land homes and places to hang out with friends, and they go through the commercial side of it. This article is only scratching the surface of what is in store as far as businesses in Somnium space are concerned. So exciting times lie ahead for Somnium space. Apparently, if you read this article. Talking about exciting times for the future, we have the blog at tivolicloud.com. Tivoli is one of the virtual worlds that is being rebuilt from scratch using high fidelity's open source code. There've been a few posts, and they have a Discord channel here, but this is the first main blog for a couple of months, bringing up to date, with what's going on. Now, it's Caitlin Meeks who's writing this. What's new at Tivoli Cloud? So Tivoli is the name of the platform, but it's a cloud-based world. So they've got Tivoli Cloud too. And Tivoli Cloud VR brings people together through the magic of multi-user shared virtual reality. And a space where distance doesn't matter. This online presence goes beyond clicking a like button on Facebook or chatting together on Discord or Slack. You can actually summon up an office for meetings, create interactive training spaces, or hang out with your friends, watch 3D movies, visit a museum, or have your own personal garden of delights, etc., etc. Anyway, Caitlin runs through all the recent updates there on Tivoli Cloud. If you want the links to these ones, by the way, you need to go to twitter.com/metaworldnews rather than the Malbones feed. Um, and if you want to go direct, you want blog.tivolicloud.com. So that's tivolicloud.com. Right, let's just put away the tabs I don't need there. Okay, now this is another very, very interesting one. I hope I'm not going to get mediums. No, this is actually wonderful. Related, actually, an excellent article, and a lot of people online have been retweeting it or posting to links to it all week. Chaos Princess, I actually got to know her quite well in Philip Rosedale's High Fidelity World. And she's talking about how to propagate a virtual world with conclusions from a dweller's point of view. Nice.
Okay.
And she starts this off by saying 2017 and 2018 have been the best years of her life thanks to Philip Rosedale's visionary social VR platform, High Fidelity. Shortly before she'd been blessed with the births of two wonderful children, and personal luck came at a personal and professional price. Social life came to a hard stop, and etc. etc. Then virtuality opened up, and all is well. Yeah, but it's a long article and a very wonderful article. Actually, she's written there. Look, basically, I mean, she talks about quite a few things, but she's basically looking back on the years of high fidelity and lessons to be learned thereof and how wonderful it was. Then we got Philip himself at one of the festivals they held. Um, and yeah, look, there's lots of it. So you can see this is a big read. This is a big read. Some of the stuff linked and embedded here you may have seen before, but because she's done videos and things around. But yeah, look at this. Look at this. You know, if I read this out to you, we'd be here a day. So, yeah, this excellent article. Now, you need to go to medium.com for this. Fortunately, it seems to be one you can get into without being told you've got to subscribe. So that's good. You can follow her herself there, actually. So it may just be in the right section of Medium. I'm not quite sure. I appear to have a message there. Oh, oh, guess she's just started following me. She won't find much to follow, but never mind. Right, okay. Sorry about that. The long road to 1 billion in VR. Oh, yes, I remember that. Okay. I'm just seeing if I can get a better link for you here. Okay. You need to go to medium .com, and then you can go slash and then the at symbol, and then this her name here, Chaos Princess. But notice the spelling. People pronounce it chaos, but it's XAOSPRINCESS. And that's how you get there. Or, of course, go to twitter.com at Metaworld News and click on the appropriate link. Um, right. I think we might be past this one. Let me see. Medieval meets Extinction. Oh, yes, there was a hypergrid hop during the week, but as usual, they tell you about it one day before. This is a kind of monthly successor to Hypergrid Safari, but um, it's happened now. Oh, very helpful. You know, a week in advance would help, folks. Right, back to user. Hypergrid Business also had a post on the same thing. And oh, this is interesting. This is 6 days ago. This is a site called Kerry's Neo Tennis Tech. It's kerryj.com. So KERRYJ.com. And general article: Virtual Worlds for Education gone or just waiting? And opinion piece there. So again, that one's posted in the Metaworld News feed. Now, I'm just quickly, because I've been going to go to Hypergrid Business here, which also has oh God, Hypergrid Business always. If you don't get a white page, it takes forever to load. Look at this. Oh, I have too many hidden ads and trackers on this site. Right. This is Hypergrid Hoppers again, but I just need to check. Oh, where is it? Where's the let's just go to home. There's an article I think I've missed here, which is the reason I'm faffing around here. Oh yes, yeah, I put this tab away by mistake. There's a link to this in the twitter.com/Malbones feed. But David Karuki at hypergridbusiness.com is looking at the way VR and AR are helping companies work during the coronavirus outbreak, and it's been sort of lurking behind massive lots of links that we've actually featured today. You know, use of VR in the workspace, use of VR in medicine, and cancelled conferences and stuff like that. And you know, it all sort of, you know, every time I see one of these, another conference cancelled, you know, I think, yeah, well, you know, if there's a month to go, they've got time to resurrect it in VR. You know, why cancel? You can have it, just have it in VR. And you know, but also, of course, if it gets more serious, we're really going to be depending on it quite a lot. And apparently, already over in China, where of course it started and is the worst, you know, an awful lot of stuff has switched to being online anyway, including in games and other VR platforms. So I think that's I think that's it. We're at the point of finito. Hyperbusiness.com, of course, was the one you just missed. And yep. Oh, well, what's going on here? Right, okay, that would do. Just so I got something on screen. Okay, James, any thoughts on that massive missive, or whatever the expression is?
It just the one thing that caught my eye was again sites asking about is it is using VR to do these things possible, and it still is always a little bit surprising to me. Like, well, yes, we do it all the time. And so, every new platform comes along and says, "Oh, well, we can do this. It's brand new." And like, nope, we've been doing
No,
it. It
we've been doing it for
works
ages.
really well. So go ahead, proceed.
I I think it was one of those VR chat things, which are quite interesting to listen to, that I posted on Twitter quite a good few weeks ago now. And John just saying, I couldn't pronounce his second word, back from the old days of Second Life, who rarely tweets, but he just tweeted back to me and saying, "Tell me, how is this different from what we were doing in Second Life 10 years ago?"
Hmm. Right.
And actually the answer wasn't simple. It wasn't that it's no different. It's still considerably worse than what we were doing in
Yeah.
Second Life 10 years
Right.
ago.
I
You
wasn't
know,
even gonna go there. Right. But you're
yeah,
right.
as you have pointed out to me a few times, if we're talking about VR, and you mentioned it the other week because of the educational conference, then do you need arms and legs and anything else? And well, if somebody else is looking at you, I still argue you do. You need a fully fleshed out avatar for appearance sake. It's not a question of what you've got, because if a first person view, you can't see your own body. If you've got the hands, fair enough. But people still have to look at you, and I think the empathy and the emotion needs to be something that is not quite as abstract as also disembodied floating bits of potatoes and carrots. It's just
Yeah.
doesn't quite feel right.
But I think
But
that's very generational too, Mel. I think the game users are very comfortable with it, and the developers say, well, why, if they're comfortable with it, why do we need to work on it?
Well, I think, arguably something like Second Life was very crude at the beginning.
Hmm.
But, people were invested in it and they look forward to the improvements. And I remember in Vast Park when it was going, my avatar was a fairly well formed human avatar, but no real costuming choices. But the head was a television set.
Hmm. Right.
And eventually one could put a webcam into the face of the television. But it's an old cathode ray, virtual recreation of a cathode ray. So it's a square box on the
Hmm.
head.
Hmm.
And they had it was a unique selling point at that point in the beta version. You had avatars, but instead of a realistic head, you had a television set with your own picture on or video on. Um, no, it's kind of were. It was so different, but yeah, I mean, all these worlds go through the initial stages. And I must say, looking at the videos for this Somnium space and that other one that's a blockchain one,
Hmm.
which rather put me off because of the obvious commercial build that they're working on, especially with the blockchains, currencies, and things. They do both of those seem to have actually thought about fleshed out avatars and stuff. They've got much more of a that science space Sansari sort of look, or Hyperdeity for that matter.
Hmm.
Um, Not as well developed as those ones, but nevertheless moving in that direction. Because people want to express themselves, and and when they realise they're being looked at, you know, they want the image. I don't care. It's not a generational thing to me. Young kids want it more than my generation. They're more fussy about the way they look and their image
Oh,
and their
see,
brand. Their brand.
yeah, my experience is different. It's
Ah,
yeah.
okay. Well, I am my brand.
Yep, yep,
Yeah. Anyway, we're rehashing old territory here a
yep.
little bit, I
Right,
think.
right.
But yeah, yeah. But it'd be interesting to see. I mean, not in the real world, how much this virus is going to spread,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
whether we really have a real pandemic worldwide, or whether it fizzles out like the what was it, SARS or something a decade ago. Um, but if it does spread the way it seems to be, and doesn't fizzle out, in other words, it's not an end in sight, then, over the course of the next few months, we really may end up with so many restrictions in place that, finally, corporations, educators, governments, and everything else may really have to start taking the idea of online presence, a lot more seriously.
Yep.
Because it's okay having a government website full of information and a site where you can check your doctor's appointments and prescriptions and
Yeah.
stuff. But it could get more serious. Well, what if you're not allowed to go out to visit your doctor? You're going to have a virtual, maybe Skype, but more effectively, you need to better go to see your doctor in a virtual surgery.
Right.
And but in Britain here, they're really talking about if it gets much worse, then they will be bringing doctors out of retirement and they'll be refusing hospital admissions. It's set for the most emergency.
Hmm.
In other words, operations and things that are booked will be put on hold and cancelled so that they can cope with. The hospitals will be dedicated to coping with, emergencies related to the virus and stuff. And, there'll be all the more reason to just be able to get, um, use online resources or stuff, and I don't know. We've got smartwatches and things like that that can monitor our heart rate and not everything, but the more stuff like that that we can use. In a world where I'm not talking about a dystopian world where we're forced to live in our cubicles like the Matrix or something, but just a world that is just unlivable because of viruses flying everywhere and ecological disasters for that matter. So I mean, um, I mean, of course, the irony is that if we still use electricity and power and stuff to actually power the online stuff, but it's not nearly as damaging as the energy we use for plane flights, motor cars. Um, and well, the whole works. It's an economy of sorts, so we'd have to keep the electricity running. Ah, I don't
Yep.
know. I don't
Yep.
know. Anyway,
Yep.
anyway, out of the rabbit hole into the week. We will
Yes.
depart.
Yep.
So, okay, I think that's it for us today. It better be, or we'll be here for another hour. Like to say thank you for being here. It's thank you from him.
Oh, and very quickly, it's thank you from him.
Yeah, so it's thank you from both of us. And a goodbye, for that matter, for both of us. I got it wrong, didn't I? Yeah, I took you by surprise. Right, we'll be back same time, same place next week, we hope. And also, after next week's show, we'll be having a rare edition of the In World Review where we'll be interviewing Kevin Feenan, otherwise known as Felon Corrimal,
Hmm.
who is the convener, shall we say, of Virtual World's Best Practices in Education, which is held every year and is being held this year. Solely in Second Life this year, I believe. Oh, and I am hosting the two Above the Book shows that will happen from there this year as well. But more about that next week. So, um, that's it. Have a good one, everybody, and we'll see you later.